Hello friends, this side Rahul Magan here from Treasury Consulting LLP, and today we are going to present a video which is very interesting one, whether CSX is heading for negative collateral or not. This is a very interesting topic, and as we very well understand that majority of the world, majority of the developing bank of the world are moving towards negative interest rate. Henceforth, there is a big probability that the CSX is heading for a negative interest rate. And another purpose why we are bringing this video is to let you know that sitting today Reserve Royal Bank of Scotland, you understand that the position of the Royal Bank of Scotland in the financial market. Sitting today, Royal Bank of Scotland has put the negative interest rate on the collateral which they are issuing, which has been put up by the respective clients of Reserve Bank of India to them. So if you are putting a collateral, rather than giving them the money, they are putting the negative interest rate. This is a very dangerous situation for the global economy, and certainly we need to understand that if this would continue, this is not good. So the purpose of this video is to make you aware about very interesting. In fact, this is just like one arrow and two sparrow, wherein wherein the first sparrow would be what do you mean by CSX, and second sparrow would be if the negative interest rate would happen, then this would have a big implication on the financial systems of the world. This side Rahul Magan here. I working as a chief executive officer of my own firm, which is Treasury Consulting LLP, and at the same time I'm also acting as a country director for two international forensic firms. One is Association of Certified Forensic Accounting Professionals, and second is International Association of Certified Forensic Investigation Professionals Inc. So, and my contact details are 9899242978. You can connect with me on Skype, which is Rahul5327, and my Twitter ID is Rahul Magan 8. So let's have a chat about the topic. This is, I hope you are able to see the presentation. But before just starting, it's my duty to make you aware that what do you mean by CSX. Now CSX stands for Credit Support Annex, or sometimes some people refer this as a CSA, Credit Support Annexure. Now in this CSX, which is Credit Support Annex, we have assumed that we have a company called Reliance Industries Limited, which you can very well see here in the presentation. And Reliance Industries Limited, since it's a big company, so they are having a lot of foreign exchange hedging program. Example, receivable hedging, payable hedging, your interest rate hedging, your overnight index swap, your option structures, your payoffs, and lot of programs which they are doing, right? Now, since Reliance is a big company, so they have a lot of bankers on their panel. It is not that Reliance is only dependent upon one or two bankers. So here we are taking all the best bankers into consideration, which is JP Morgan, Standard Chartered, HSBC, Bank of America, Deutsche, BNP Paribas, United Bank of Switzerland, which is UBS, Santander, which is Spanish Bank, Australia, New Zealand, Westpac, National Bank of Australia, and few Indian banks, ICICI, SDFC, and Yes Bank. So Reliance Industries Limited is having a lot of foreign exchange requirement which they are doing with these banks. It might possible that there are few banks which they are dealing of, but due to the space constraint, we cannot put all the name. Now, as we understand that Reliance is an importer, because they are importing the oil, they are refining it, and they are selling it. And we hereby assume that they are not doing the net investment, they are not doing the net hedging. Net hedging stands for that that you are having a payable position. Example, sitting today, Reliance Industries Limited bought oil worth of $1.5 billion, and they refined it and they sold to the international market, say $1.6 billion. Now this $100 million is their margin, which is refining margin. Now in this we hereby assume that they are not doing the net investment hedging. Ideally, what is net hedging? Ideally, what is net hedging? Because the payable position is 1.5, the receivable position would be 1.6, so difference is of 100 million is the net hedging. So we hereby assume that they will do both kind of hedging. They will hedge $1.5 billion separately, and they will hedge for $1.6 billion separately. Now they are having, since it was a capex based company, capex stands for capital expenditure, so you would be having a lot of foreign currency loan in the books of the Reliance Industries Limited. And as we very well understand that as we very well understand that Reliance Industries Limited is having more than 95% of the debt is in foreign currency. In fact, currently they are not taking. Currently they are not. They have very little debt in INR terms. To be very honest. And when I'm saying currency, when they are saying the foreign currency debt, they have for all kind of foreign currency like USD, INR, this that, and so on and so forth. Right? Now we assume that they are also doing overnight index swaps, they are also doing option structures, they are also doing payoffs. So there are a lot of things which they are doing, right? Now, as you very well understand that Reliance is predominantly an importer. Reliance is not an exporter, right? Reliance is a net of exporter, but predominantly it's an importer, right? Now, Reliance, and hereby we'll take a simple example of a forward contract or assuming an option contract. Reliance is a long-term player. It's not that Reliance is the short-term player. It is not that Reliance is buying oil for 1 day, 2 days. They are doing this business from several years, and they would continue to do this business for next several years. Right? That is a separate fact that oil has reduced from 180 to 150 to roughly 30. So this has hitting the top line of the Reliance and also the other oil companies. Now, what would happen if sitting today, sitting today, we all understand that INR is trading at 67.20. Suppose the 1 year premium is 4.5, say take it flat 5, then 1 year outright rate is 67.20 plus 5, which is roughly 72.20, right? Take it flat, it is 72. So 1 year outright rate is 72. Now Reliance is an importer. 1 year is 72. Assuming going with this way that the 5 year forward rate is 16, assuming spot is 67 and 5 forward is 16, so net would be 83. So sitting today, Reliance will get in right to buy the dollars 5 years down the line at 83 because the 5 years premium is trading at 16. So the net outright would be 67 plus 83, 67 plus 16, which is 83. Now the biggest question of the day. Is the charge, because Reliance, Apple, Microsoft, Google, any company, they would have some credit charge. Now that credit charge is nothing but a charge which the bank is putting on them, because if Reliance hedged for 5 years, bank will also going to take a counter position in the market. Now this counter position is with the variety is in interbank market, but there is one concept which is known as CDS or CVA, credit valuation adjustment. The bank will surely going to hedge this in the interbank market using CDS. What would happen if 5 years down the line Reliance was failed? If Reliance defaults, there is no guarantee. Considering the fact that oil was 150, considering the fact that today it is almost 50. There are a variety of thoughts in the market that it will go to 60 or it may go to whatever way. So this can go anywhere. So what Reliance would do here, that in this Reliance would simply, the bank would simply go in the interbank market and hedge that via CDS, and that CDS cost bank will pass to Reliance. So if today's spot is 67 and 5 year CDS is 50 paisa, so net cost would be 67.5 plus 16 rupee. Let me give you via some Excel file so that it's easy for us to understand exactly how we are heading for. So this is an Excel file. Everybody can see. Now what would happen? I will increase the font. I will say spot rate. Let me guess this. I will say spot rate is 67.20. and say I will down like this, 5 years forward is say 16 rupees. So the outright would be, which we refer like this, it is sum of this. Assuming one fourth of the paisa is the brokerage or the administrative price or the commission, whatever you say. So we take 1/4 of the paisa like this. This would be an outright rate for Reliance Industries Limited. Now we assume that Reliance Industries Limited, now we assume that the bank is JP Morgan and JP Morgan will counter hedge this position in the market. Of course, JP Morgan will surely counter hedge because nobody will certainly, nobody knows that what could happen. Today we all understand that even the best and best banks are firing people. Even Cisco is laying off 14,000 people. There is no certainty that if today you are dealing with even the best and best brands that they certainly would help you. They can default at any point of time. Markets are going towards your negative interest rate, so anything could happen. So what Reliance would does, so what the bank would go in the interbank market and bank would hedge the same. Now once bank would go in the interbank market and hedge the same, there would be cost of that. That is CDS, credit default swap. Ultimately they will take this cost as CVA, which is credit valuation adjustment. So suppose this is 50 paisa. I'm assuming CVA is say 50 paisa. I will take this 0.5. So the net cost of Reliance would be, net RIL I am writing, would be equals to sum of this. This 83.7025. We can have variety of example using options also, that is not a problem. Now Reliance wanted to reduce this 0.5 paisa because suppose the deal is of $1 billion, which we mentioned, the deal is of 1.5 billion. So the impact would be 1.5 into 1000, because 1 billion is 1000 million, into this much million. So you can refer this 1000 again. So the impact would be 7,50,000 rupees on $1.5 billion. So what Reliance would do, and this is not the only deal Reliance is doing. Reliance is having a top line of 80,000 crores, plus they have other business also. So Reliance would continue to do that deal, and we assume that they are not doing the net hedging. They are doing the gross hedging. It means they hedge their receivables separately than their payables. So what Reliance would do, Reliance will go to bank and submit some collateral. Sometimes CXA has collateral bills, sometimes CSX are not collateral bills. So they will send this something as a collateral. Now that collateral will be, I assume, is a term deposit. Suppose they submitted a term deposit of 7,000 crores to any bank, to JP Morgan. Let us go with the same example because we are having first bank. So suppose they went to bank and submitted 7,000 crore rupees as a term deposit. Now bank, the same bank who is there, who was doing the CVA of 50 paisa, now bank will stop charging the credit charge, and bank will start passing the credit charge to Reliance, and this way they are able to reduce the cost. Now the question is, why bank would accept this collateral? Bank, when and how come we go to know this 7,000 crore? This is called value at risk. Reliance would assure that, the bank would assure that, bank will compute that, they see 5 years down the line, we have this contract. Suppose Reliance will cancel this contract today or within a specified period of time. The maximum mark to market margin we can have from Reliance is so much amount of dollars. Now that if we cumulatively add these dollars on the complete hedge book and multiply it with any specified INR rate, it could be the RBI reference rate as well, then we would get to know that Reliance would have a total exposure of approximately 7,000 crore on the banks. and that 7,000 crore is the total amount of FD. I will try and pass this using an Excel file. Let me see whether we would be able to make some sense out of this. Now what I do, I have an Excel file that in front. So I will say Reliance is having following deals: 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, and the projected mark to market M2M for Reliance is $1 million. So these are all in dollars, but let me write for you. $1 million. Suppose this is $0.75 million. Suppose this is $0.5 million. So total would be approximately $2.25 million, which in INR terms is approximately 15-20 crores. But Reliance is a big company, so we assume that the total M2M standing for all outstanding hedges is approximately say 7,000 crores in worst case scenario, which is done via EVT extreme value theory. So what Reliance does, Reliance will submit this 5,000 crore to bank, and bank will take this as a collateral, and bank will stop charging the credit risk to bank and start passing this to Reliance Industries Limited. In that, Reliance would be able to save this 50 paisa. So it is a win-win situation, like I said. How win-win situation? Number one, you not been able to pay any credit charge. Secondly, the money which you already invested with the bank, whether it is RBS Bank or JP Morgan or any bank we have taken in this example, on that money you are already getting an interest also. So this 7,000 crore, Reliance will get some interest of say 5-10%, 8.5% or 9%, that depend. Sometimes companies will perform the structures also, which is capital protection structures, which is out of scope of this discussion, but we can have that later on. So this way the companies do the CSX, and this is what the purpose of the CSX also. But we need to clearly understand that CSX is not a separate document. CSX comes along with ISDA. ISDA stands for International Swap and Derivative Association, and in ISDA you are having CSX also. And ISDA is having 4 stuff, which is ISDA, CSX, RDS and annexure. So Master Service Agreement 2002, RDS, ISDA and ISDA, RDS, your annexure and your CSX. Now these once you sign these 4 or 5 documents, you will be able to save yourself from the credit charge. But unfortunately, this is not same for other countries or other banks across the globe. As we very well understand that about US Royal Bank of Scotland, which has put a negative interest rate on the collateral. So Royal Bank of Scotland saying that the Europe is in negative. If you have 100 euro, which I invest in the market, people will give me 99.80 after 1 year. And if I move on, then interest rate would be more negative. So if you given me a collateral on CSX, and that collateral I invested somewhere, so there might be a time I appreciate that this collateral was giving me a positive rate, but now this collateral is giving me a negative rate, which I need to charge from you. So in that regards, what RBS did, RBS start passing the negative rate on all the collateral of the client. This is not the good sign, because this, of course, the negative interest rate is impacting the fixed income market of the world, and at the same time the negative interest rate would change also the foreign exchange market in terms of CSX collateral. I may not be surprised that, considering the fact that repo rate is 6.5 and the new governor Mr. Urjit Patel is on the way, so there would be some political pressure and he would reduce this repo rate from 6.5 to maybe roughly 5% gradually over the period of time, and because of that the money would start flowing out of India, because we already understand that Indonesia and Singapore are offering higher dollar denominated rate, and if we continue to follow the policy of the negative interest rate, this do not sounds good for the fixed income market. So this was the purpose of the video, and we also would like to reiterate the fact that if we go via this presentation, then you would get to know, if we go via with this presentation, then you would get to know that maybe over a period of time, could be 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, I'm not sure how much time it will take, but all the CSX would have a collateral all the CSX who are having collateral, their interest rate would be negative or will reduce to zero. So this was the purpose of the this was the purpose of the video. All the corporate treasurers need to aware that if you are signing a CSX, then please be careful. Do not sign blindly, because this may cost you as well. As simple as that. About us, we are a company which is having the multiple business streams, which is publication domain, knowledge commerce, trainings domain, corporate management consulting, risk and auditing, and accounting. B engagement stands for business school, and fintech stands for financial technologies. If you have any requirement pertaining to any training, do let us know. We welcome to come in your country and provide you the training. Our contact details is very well aware to you, which is Treasury Consulting LLP @gmail.com, Rahul Magan 8 @gmail.com. Another is 9899242978. My Skype contact is Rahul5327. We have a brand which we titled this as Foreign Exchange Maverick Thinkers, wherein we are serving millions of people every day. You are welcome to join our brand, which is very well available on LinkedIn, LinkedIn FX Club, YouTube channel, Daily Motion, Derivative, Basel 3, Foreign Exchange Academy, Skype, Google Groups, Google Docs, Digital Library on Google, Dropbox, and SlideShare. And there are still counting, more on the way. I hope you like this video, and all the corporate treasurers, those who are watching this, if CSX is heading for the negative interest rate, this is going to make a lot of sense for them. Thank you. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting. Thank you very much.